Our next storyteller is one of your wonderful bar persons. I guess bartender's gender neutral. There you go. He's one of our wonderful bartenders. And the first time she told a story here, she told a story about a coworker of hers, not from here, who beat the shit out of a middle school Chilean boy because he had stolen her cell phone. So, I don't know. Yes, red flag, yeah. And then one of her more recent stories also had to do with shit, but literal shit. It was about her cousin, what did she call it? Oh, she was in the grocery store in just pajama pants. I mean, she probably had a top on. But there were no undergarments, and there were loose pajama pants. And when they got out to the car, she hurriedly was like, "We have to leave." And Ashley was like, "Okay, well, what's going on?" Then they got out the car, and she told her that she had dropped a poop nugget out of her pant leg. And then I believe a little old woman smeared it with her shopping cart. Because like the cousin was like, I obviously can't just leave this here. So like as she was like working up the courage to pick up her poop nugget, this little old lady just... You can find that story on our podcast as well. Hey, please put your hands together for Ashley Haan.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Good. I don't have that funny of a story this evening. No poop nuggets in this horrible date, although that would make a really terrible date. So this is actually kind of not a self-deprecating, but I'm the worst date in this certain scenario. So I was married. And my husband and I started to hit a real rocky patch like 3 years prior to the divorce, and kind of like did the normal roller coaster ebb and flow type of thing, as one does. And you go through tough spots in your relationship anytime. So we kind of made it through and had some really high highs, some really low lows. And I got to a point like mid 2018 where we were hitting some like seriously like Grand Canyon lows, and it just was absolutely no way. There was no goat like scenario that was gonna take us like, oh, this goat's gonna climb the rock and get out of this shithole. No, it's like it's stuck. So being the worst date, we finally hit that point of, oh, this has to end, and I'm gonna have to be the person that has to rip the biggest Band-Aid ever, like that has this gross, nasty, oozing, pussy wound Band-Aid, right? So our schedules were very opposite. He was on third shift, I was on first shift, and then would work. I waitressed, so just kind of did that thing. So we were really never overlapping, and we had plans on Christmas Eve to have oysters and steak and actually like have a night together. And I hit this like, oh my God, this is the night that I have to have this conversation. Like, I'm gonna be the absolute Scrooge that doesn't have this like miraculous like ending and your heart grows 3 times the size. Like, no, I'm gonna be that shithead that has this like big divorce conversation on Christmas Eve. Yeah, that happened. So we're making dinner, and I don't know who sings this Christmas song, but you know, like the pretty paper, pretty ribbons of blue, that song. So that's because we're cooking a Christmas Eve dinner, and that song comes on, and I just start bawling, just absolutely bawling. And he's like, "What? Well, it's not even Willie Nelson's version. Like, why are you crying at this song?" And we have this big conversation, and we both. It was like this freeing moment of, oh man, like you hit that point in your relationships, right, where you have that actualized, authentic moment of like, this is me, this is what I'm coming to the table with, this is something super important that I need to talk to you about, and it's big and it sucks. Like we've all been there at some point, whether it's with our spouse or a friend. Like you just have to have that moment of, hey, I gotta tag out. So we had this conversation, and we're both at that point. It was a very mutual discussion. And from that point, we had our oysters and we grilled out steak and we played with the dogs and listened to other like shitty Christmas music that you do, and probably watched A Christmas Story for the 145,000th time. And from that point, after having that, okay, well, we're gonna end this phase of our relationship, we proceeded to have like the best week, because of course Christmas usually lends to a holiday, and we both had time off that we intended to spend together, and we did, and we went and did all of our favorite things. And sorry, I didn't think I was gonna get choked up. And I guess in that week, it reminded me of, like, no matter the shit you go through with people, the absolute worst, right? There's always good. Always good. There's always a reason that you're there for that person. You're that person's rock. You're their friend. And it just reminded me of that. And we're beyond it. We're still very good friends. We share dog custody together, and we talk, every couple of days and just check in. And I guess my biggest message, whether it's the worst date or like physically on the calendar, the worst date to absolutely have that conversation and like royally fuck up a holiday for the rest of your life, maybe. I don't know, maybe I should plan a trip to Hawaii and just like cancel out all that like negative. There was always a reason you were with that person. So whether your friendship ended horribly or your relationship ended really, really badly, like just remember the really beautiful things that came out of it. It's kind of like that lotus. Like we all come from the dirt and the mud and the yuck, and we turn into ourselves. So that's it. That's my impromptu story. Keep drinking.